Distorted Fate, written by Silva. Interlude 3, Intruder. It was the middle of the night in the Everfree forest as a pack of timberwolves awoke to the sound of something crashing down nearby. As they searched for the source of the noise, they heard unusually loud rustling in a nearby thicket. One of the timberwolves growled at the thicket, walking inside to investigate the noise. Moments later, the rest of the pack saw the timberwolf sent flying out of the thicket, crashing into a tree as it shattered into bits. This caused the pack to growl at the thicket until something darted out of the bush, grabbing two of the timberwolves before pulling them back into the thicket as the rest of the pack jumped back in surprise. Instantly, whimpering was heard from the thicket, just before the sound of the two timberwolves being smashed into pieces. This sent the rest of the pack fleeing as they scattered away from the thicket, from which something rather large emerged. It lumbered past where the timberwolves were, pushing aside any trees in its way. The creatures made no actions to hide its presence, as its footsteps echoed throughout the forest. To a mere beast, the creature seemed to be bumbling through the forest, but to a keen mind, it appeared that the beast was making its way towards some unknown destination.
Sister, sister, thou must wake up,
some ponies said as Celestia felt something nudging against her side.
What? Luna?
Celestia said as she opened her eyes, seeing Luna before her as she spotted one of her hooves on her side.
Why have you woken me up so early? Dear sister, while we regret waking thou up at such an hour, we have splendid news.
Luna said her face was less haggard than it had been the past few days, as Celestia could see a hint of hope in her eyes.
What news do you have?
Celestia asked before she let out a yawn.
During our nightly duties safeguarding our subjects' dreams, we found a pony that not only was able to inform us of what is causing the nightmares, but could help provide us the means to put a stop to them.
Upon hearing that news, Celestia was fully brought into the waking world as she said,
Truly? This is wonderful news! Who is this pony?
Blinking into a moment, Luna coughed into her hoof as she said,
The pony was a filly named Aether Aura, who is being raised by the element of laughter.
This caused Celestia to stare at her with doubt, compelling her to continue.
We know how this sounds, dear sister, but the foal showed us visions of a city that no mere pony could imagine, filled with so many wonders and creatures we have never beheld with our own eyes before. Furthermore, the filly is not an ordinary pony, for she claims to be a creature from another world.
Still skeptical, Celestia asked,
So, did this filly tell you what could be causing the nightmares?
This caused an expression of concern to appear on Luna's face as she said,
The filly told us that the nightmarish creatures actually exist. She called them Venonites and believed that the dreams are but a mere warning of a possible invasion. An invasion? Sorry, Luna, but these claims are just... well, they're too much like the frightens of a fool's imagination. Sister, as doubtful as this situation may seem to be, we assureth thou that we have not been fooled. The child knew of the dangers of one traversing between dimensions, and hath claimed to have met discord. She hath even attributed the explosion that has troubled the land to some kind of probes that only have come to our world due to damage of this world's natural barriers. She hath suspicions that something happened that caused harm to our barriers, and since the incident, all the claims the filly has made only seem to point to her being correct.
Suddenly, an expression of guilt overcame Celestia's face as she pondered what Luna has told her.
Have you told the filly? No, sister, for we have believed that it would be best that thou were the one that told her.
Turning her head away from her sister, Celestia looked through a window to see the starry night sky.
It seems my actions still have repercussions that none of us could have foreseen. Do not fret, sister, for we have made plans to meet this filly at the break of dawn. Perhaps she will have insight in what further unknowns that may come to our world. I hope you are right, Luna.
Celestia replied as she pondered on the consequences of what she had unknowingly unleashed onto her world. As the moon began its descent to make way for the sun, the Everfree Forest settled into an eerie silence. Its wildlife had gone into hiding, fearful of the unnatural beast that was making its way through the forest. Many of the forest's predators had attempted to engage the beast, only to be crushed and tossed aside like mere insects. It didn't take long for all life in the forest to realize this was a beast that none of them could confront. The beast broke through the forest edge just as the moon disappeared into the horizon, the sun rising up in its stead. Before the beast lay the town where its residents were just starting to stir. Pausing for a moment, the beast looked upon the town with its 6 crystalline eyes before it began to make its way towards it. Not too far away from the beast, a yellow Pegasus shivered with fear in her cottage from the sight of the creature. However, upon seeing the path the beast was taking, she quickly steeled whatever resolve she had as she opened the window. She flew out as fast as she could, far above the beast as she made her way to the town to warn the residents.